Hello and welcome back, Cosmic Baddies, to another episode of Chakras and Cuss Words podcast. My name is Catherine and I am your host. Today, we are getting into this new moon energy that is literally occurring right around the corner. So, we have a new moon in Sagittarius, and it is happening on December 19th at 8:43 p.m. Now, this new moon is our last new moon for the year, and it's our last new energy that many of us will be using in areas of creation. Now, what's interesting about this new moon is occurring at 28 degrees of Sagittarius. Also, this new moon is hitting us right in that Sagittarius feeling, that energy, and that movement of the Sagittarius sun sign. So, let's get into this new moon energy as a whole. This is a bold energy. It's also an energy that feels like aligned on next chapters as we are closing out this movement of the beginning to a new era in some ways. The sun and the moon are aligned in bigger visions and bigger areas of movement. The Sagittarius has always been known to be a very bold sign as it is a mutable sign, but is also a fire sign. So it's activating areas of confidence, truth telling, and freedom. And I'm going to say that when we are thinking about the Sagittarius is known for a couple of things. It's known for being a little bit centered around travel and the energy of movement that feels very outward, being outspoken, being centered around new journeys. And one of the reasons why is because the Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is all about that energy of like truth telling, activating confidence, and also making everything feel a bunch more abundant. Some people say that the Sagittarius energy does not sweat small stuff because it's really centered in bigger and grander things. So it has an energy that feels very high profile and also feels very main character. So under this new moon, you're invited to reconnect and also bring purpose and areas of vision in what it is that you believe will be centered with you in this next year. Also, I would set intentions on expanding your mind and also your energies of philosophy, especially your self beliefs. It could be centered around your spiritual journey or even the area of relationship. And when we look at movements of travel and growth, it's not just our energy of like going somewhere, it's our energy of what's within us and our area of wanting to grow and evolve and do more things. I would say that definitely right now, as we are getting ready to kick in the winter season, especially if you are up here in the northern hemisphere, you are definitely maybe feeling some winter blues. I know I am. I don't like the fog. I don't like the coldness. I love summer. I like to be outside. And something about not seeing the sun just kind of makes it a little bit harder and a little bit more challenging. I'm definitely a sun goddess. While I do love the moon, and I do cherish the moon, and I do love to use the moon for intentions, I really feel the most alive when the sun is out. So get your vitamin C in, get your vitamin D in, and definitely have that energy centered in your mind that you understand that there are challenges with this winter and with this mindset, even though we are aligned with new journeys. So, expanding your mind and your world and your self beliefs come with growing up in understanding how it affects you and how certain elements won't affect other people the way that it affects you and acknowledging that. But I would say that with this energy of the Sagittarius, we tend to see a little bit of like a naive nature with the Sagittarius. Some people would say that the Sagittarius energy can sometimes feel a little bit irresponsible. So, this is why you want to keep yourself grounded and also centered around visualization of what's to come and starting that area of journey and travel in what's to come. While it is aligned with a cardinal sign, I mean, not a cardinal sign, with a fire sign, and it's challenging over to a mutable sign energy as we have it in Sagittarius, and we have it going to the mutable signs. I mean, going to the cardinal signs as we have a new start with the Capricorn energy. So just be aware that many of us might be feeling, so be aware of that. Just be aware of that. But this new moon also is the energy that inspires us to stay grounded, and it allows us to plant and be focused on certain intentions. This new moon is charged with two of the best planets that it could be charged with. It's charged with the energy of Venus and Mars. Now, Venus and Mars is centered around areas of relationships and also creativity. So, even though we are a little bit of like in the cycle of feeling, we have this Venus and Mars energy that will allow us to pick up our creativity and also get centered in energies of self love and areas of attraction and motivation, and having that area that feels a little bit more grander when we've been feeling so tired and we've been feeling so kind of snuggly and just feeling too cozy in this little slumpy era that we may have been shifting in. I would also say that we see these challenges with this new moon as it is focused with also Saturn and Neptune throwing us into areas of illusions and also disillusions. And what's also interesting is with Saturn and Neptune both being aligned in the energy of, I believe they are still in the aligned in the energy of Pisces, is that this movement allows us to still feel the challenges affecting us in areas of emotions as it is creating a movement of I believe a square with this moon, with this new moon. So this new moon is focused in areas where we can have some challenges on feeling a little bit naive still as Neptune is out of retrograde. So that area of illusion can still be kind of like messing with our judgment and also messing with our areas of our thoughts and our areas of getting centered in the next steps. And then we see that movement also with Saturn, where Saturn might make us feel a little bit more entangled to where Neptune can really have that focus of our responsibilities, getting centered with a little bit of self doubt, unfortunately, with this energy around the new moon. So we want to understand that we could be feeling like this energy of mixed beliefs or doubting ourselves or having a little bit of mood swings, and stay focused, stay grounded, and also stay centered with your solar plexus chakra and the energy of the willpower to allow us to initiate movements that move us past this energy that could be feeling a little bit stuck or a little bit second guessing our intuition. Now, definitely would say that this new moon is going to affect, of course, the mutable signs. For instance, the Sagittarius, the Gemini, the Virgo, and the Pisces, especially ones who have late degrees, and also early cardinal signs, such as the Aries, the Cancer, the Libra, and the Capricorn. So definitely take in mind that this new moon energy can feel a little bit topsy-turvy and a little bit unruly at first. But look at the bigger picture of what this new moon is about. It's about creating areas of intention or reflection, depending on where it is that you are focused in your life. That Sagittarius constellation, we might see energy around travel, long distance relationships, international focus, and also the energy of different cultures feeling a little bit closer to us. And this might allow us to have a bigger and broader perspective and also allow ourselves to use this perspective and use this mindset to create more intentions and more journeys of allowing ourselves to evolve with this new moon. Also, the new moon is also focused on areas of education. So it's going to be interesting to see how people use this and how they use this around areas of philosophy, learning, and evolving on a very centered movement that's around self and also around the collective in some spaces. And while we are centered around our own beliefs and our own areas of truth and spirituality, we see how this all meshes together, how this life lesson of spirituality, astrology, the metaphysics, and also the chakras allow us to intertwine it all together, creating a beautiful melting pot of different perspectives and different movements. I would say to definitely let your purpose be your vision and also to allow your core message to speak that vision through areas of volume. This would be a good time to get centered on new writing, journal, also creating new projects and storytelling. I would say that we might definitely hear some big stories maybe centered around law, justice, and also areas of ethics with this new moon. Also, when we look at the new moon energy and it being aligned with the energy of the Sagittarius, like I said, is a fire sign. So it's also in the center of creating and speaking and telling and traveling and opening new doors to new pathways, to new energies of movement. The Sagittarius could be seen as a truth teller. It can also be seen as somebody who is focused on projects. So, this definitely has main character energy, while the Sagittarius isn't as some would say solar plex heavy or ego heavy as maybe a Leo in areas of confidence, where the Leo may see a lot of attention. The Sagittarius energy is a little bit more centered around expansion. And when we see this energy of a main character with expansion, we see that there's a lot of visibility and it also amplifies the volume that this fire sign brings. So it does have an energy that makes that individual and also where you are in your life kind of throw you out to create more volume and to take up more space, which isn't something that traditionally the the masculine energies like Sagittarius do. They are more centered on being seen, but this is actually more of a bigger energy and an energy of taking up space in your own right and in your own path. Also, with the Sagittarius, we're going to look at energies of creating new intentions. Now, when you want to get focused on new intentions, one of my favorite things to do is to pick up my tarot deck. And the deck that I am using for this reading is the Light Seers Tarot deck. And I haven't pulled tarot for a moon in a while, but I decided let's do it. Let's do it. Let's pull some tarot and we're going to thank the universe for whatever messages and area of intentions that we receive with this reading. Also, this is going to come from pure intentions, from guides, from energies of movement, spirit, the universe that are aligned with truth, love, and true meaning and movement. Also, I will say that when you are getting centered in uh, creating new intentions for this new year, I know so many people want to do it. Like, let's create new intentions. The new year is coming. Oh, And when we are getting centered on new intentions for the new year's, just be mindful that we do have to remember the cycle that we are in. For instance, most of the time we don't see a lot of growth in the beginning of the new year. And the reason why is because look, everything's cold, everything's dying, everything's centered around a little bit of a darkness, right? But that doesn't mean that we can't create longevity and also that we can't create areas around movement that is centered around strategy and philosophy and being centered around that. Now we have to allow that Sagittarius energy of philosophy and steps and seeing the bigger picture to really come forward and allow us to own that moon energy. So, with this new moon in Sagittarius and the reading, I'm going to be pulling one card around intentions for each of the um, elements. So, for instance, if you are a fire sign, I will be starting with you guys. Fire signs, that is the Sagittarius, that's also the Leo and the Aries. So, for you guys, your first and only card, 1.1 card, is Four of Cups. Now, this makes me think that there's some energy around clarity. It also makes me think that there's some energy around decisions and creating some big steps. And while the steps may feel really big or may feel really centered around big decisions or areas of clarity, I want you to look at within. And I want you to look at the energy of movement, of not just your throat chakra, your solar plex chakra, and also your root chakra, but also the energy of having a peace of mind of even if this decision feels very hard right now, understanding that that mind, those lessons, all the things that you've learned in the past feed you to have the confidence to make the right decision. Now, sometimes if we are looking for clarity in relationships, and I do feel like some of this card does resemble some relationships, that when we are looking for clarity in relationships, that we have to understand that what is right for us might not be right for somebody else. So, for instance, we should not ever settle our beliefs because it makes somebody else feel comfortable. And if that's something that you are going through, allow yourself to acknowledge that your beliefs, your comfortability, your area of presence is the most important because you don't want to live a life in an energy where you feel stuck or where you feel unappreciative or if you feel like unheard. So that is for the fire signs. The next card will be for the water signs. If you are a water sign, that means you are a Scorpio, you are a Pisces, and you are a Cancer. So, for the water signs, I feel like there's a lot of energy that speaks volume in areas of wealth. And so this would be a good time to create some energy as we have the Ace of Pentacles in energy movements around money, focus around big projects that are maybe career shifting or maybe higher education. Now, a lot of times, since we are talking about the Sagittarius and a new moon in Sagittarius, I'm a huge believer of expanding in education. I know there's some talks about the educational system and how the educational system, a lot of people feel like, oh, it's a scam. You dedicate all this time, you dedicate all these years, and you might not make money or whatever. With me, I feel that the educational system is very important. And regardless of how you see the educational system, if you see it in areas of higher education, for instance, going to college or signing up for a trade school or signing up for classes or going and getting certified, learning how to open your own business, whatever it is, there's some sort of learning that comes. There's some sort of evolving yourself to a higher potential, to a higher energy. And that is the visibility. And that's also the energy of abundance that Jupiter and also Sagittarius really brings in. So if you are a water sign who has been thinking about creating more in some movements, higher energy, and higher profit in your lifespan. And this is not everything is just moon magic where you get some bay leaves and you write your intentions. Yes, you can do that. Yes, you could be focused on your vision board. Yes, you could be focused on your energy that serves you in that spiritual presence and that spiritual alchemy. But you also have to be realistic where you understand that there are steps, there are keys, there is focus, there is rhythms and patterns that will lead you to creating and also manifesting and completing those intentions. And especially when it comes to making a higher profiled version of yourself. And sometimes you have to really dig deep and look at that Saturn energy that is affecting us and look at that energy of requirements that maybe we haven't been doing. Maybe we haven't signed up for that class. Maybe we haven't looked at that web link. So, understanding that energy and start to create the goals and the intentions to do all the things that is literally going to feed you and help you in your own movement of this life. For the earth signs, now if you are a earth sign, then you are probably a Taurus, Capricorn, or you are a Virgo. So for the earth signs, let's get into your reading. I haven't pulled the tarot out in such a long time. Let's pull it out. Let's pull out and create some cosmic energy. Okay. So for this, okay, this card just popped out. So this is Two of Wands for the earth signs. The card pops, we grab it. I definitely feel like this is a sit down. This is a sit down energy. This is an energy of reflection. Two of Wands makes me think that there could be another individual in the mix, maybe a relationship. Two of Wands also makes me feel like there's energy of travel. Duh, new moon in Sagittarius. Of course, why wouldn't there be energies of travel? But there's also energies of feeling aligned with this movement and feeling centered with the next step. But really reflecting and making sure that those movements and that area is right for you. I also feel like there's a huge, huge calling to the earth signs right now. And that could be the next step in your life and creating a decision. But before you do that, make sure you reflect on the year as we are getting ready to close this year out. Also, reflect on some of the negatives and the positives. Look more through the solar plex and also the throat chakra, but also don't forget to be centered with that energy of in between, which is the heart chakra, and understanding that following your heart, while sometimes following your heart can be a challenge, but most of the time when you do follow your heart, it is the best thing for you and for your soul and for your spirit, because one of the worst things you could do is just be so focused off of, what's making the right decision and not listening to your heart and not listening to that energy that is within you and that energy of movement. So, being able to trust that heart chakra, trust your boundaries, and trust your energy of reflection. So, this energy of movement comes, but I definitely would say a lot of reflection for the earth signs right now. Okay, a last one. Last one is the air signs. Now, if you are an air sign, you are definitely a Gemini, or you are a Libra, or Aquarius. Aquarius is, they're always on some bullshit. Just joking, guys. Just joking. You Aquariuses. Okay, Seven of Cups. What's interesting when I look at Seven of Cups, I feel like Seven of Cups brings out movement of change, especially with energies of learning. So when I see Seven of Cups, to me, Seven of Cups really resembles creating a pathway that is aligned with your energy of your spiritual presence. Seven of Cups has always, and the number seven alone has always kind of had, to me, like this water element about it that feels centered around the energy of the higher learner and the energy of luck and speaking that ritual back to yourself, and also speaking that ritual back into being a mentor and being somebody who is focused in that. I do think with Seven of Cups, when we see it right here, it looks like somebody making a very hard decision, and it looks like somebody who is seeing all the angles. It looks like there's a snake or some type of energy of transformation coming. We also see that energy of the pathway, of the water, of the ocean, and it feels very emotionally entwined. Now, what's interesting is I've been looking into different energies of guides and different energies of people who I could pay homage to, or spirits that I could pay homage to, or energies that I can feel and also move with, right? And it's so fascinating because you will see like certain things come up and come up and come up and come up and come up. And a lot of times I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense to me because that guide isn't necessarily somebody who traditionally I would look at focus for, but that message keeps coming up, coming up, coming up, coming up. And I keep seeing like that energy, or I keep seeing that movement that message is sending me. So when something like that is happening, you have to understand that while it is repetitive and there is a pattern, to acknowledge that sometimes your messages choose you and you don't get a chance to choose your message. I definitely think that there is a lot of times where people are trying to figure out their life purpose or feel like some energy that will allow them to feel happy in this lifespan and allow them to feel more productive in this lifespan. And sometimes we think that we're going to choose that or we are going to find that. But what ends up happening is that message chooses us. And before we know it, we are understanding the calling after we allow that message to choose us and us to set focus with it. Now, I definitely think like there's times where I'm like, I wish I could have been like a famous person, or what if I was like an entertainer, or oh my god, but that's not necessarily my message choosing me, right? That's me trying to choose a message that might not actually be my message. And that can come in forms of guides, that can come in forms of your spiritual presence, that can come in energies of you finding your pathways that feel right. Because remember, at the end of the day, at the end of when you're laying down at night and you are reflecting on your day and you're reflecting on all the things that matter to you in this world, in this life, one of the things that is the most important is how do you feel in the emotional and cellular level of this journey. So allowing that presence for you. And that is for this new moon in Sagittarius that is coming up on December 19th at 8:43 p.m. Remember, we're definitely going to be aligned with some energy of the solar plexus chakra, definitely the heart chakra, the throat chakra, of course, and the energy of movement that allows us to speak, that allows us to be centered in our core message. As we also have during this new moon, Sagittarius being aligned with not just not this sun energy, moon energy, but also with Mercury, and I believe also with Venus during this time. So it's definitely a lot of energy coming at us. And there's a lot of movement of feeling bold, brave, and not allowing those self doubts to resurface. So I want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast. Please like, comment, and share it with your witchy bestie. Let me know what intentions are you setting for this new moon in Sagittarius, and everybody have an amazing day. Bye.